you saw that.
Yes.
Who called it first?
I don't know if one of y'all want to go grab it to look at no blues or if you want me to grab it myself. You want to grab it?
And then you said the bra, the granddad, and the mom.
Just grab my
Okay. Are you going to stream this when she's not here?
Yes.
Is it going to be streamed right now?
Yes.
On what channel?
I can stream it on our app.
Okay.
You said want the
No, I said I would allow it if somebody asked, but I'm not ordering her to be cuffed. I prefer that she's not, but if there's any, I'm going to have a giant warning when everybody gets here.
You're speaking. Okay. We'll come up here. All the way to the
Okay, this is the mom, correct?
Paris, England, yes.
All right, and is the woman following her the paternal grandmother?
We haven't seen the person. This is my first interview.
Mr. England, can you say? Have you sit together?
You may. I'm not mic'd. I'm not mic'd here.
Might want to get a statement if my daughter is not.
It's coming? Okay, so nobody else is coming in concerned. Well, I'm going to go on the record. Hold on. Record.
Calling case number 24-004-295-01 FC, the people of the state of Michigan versus Iesha Harris. This matters before the court for sentencing. Appearances for the record, please.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Eric Moses on behalf of the people, P78491.
And good afternoon, Your Honor. May it please the court, Kim Vachon, Neighborhood Defender Services, P59167, and it is my privilege to represent Ms. Harris.
There are some unusual circumstances that I would like to address prior to getting into the sentencing. When we were here for the plea, there was a significant outburst in this courtroom, and people were hurt. So if you're looking at this, there's upwards of maybe close to 25 to 30 sheriffs in this room right now to ensure that the decorum of the courtroom is respected, that the sentencing will proceed without incident, and that those expectations will be met. Notwithstanding all of the sheriffs here, I am surprised by the absence of so many people that we had the last time. But the first thing that we're going to discuss is the absence of the defendant, Iesha Harris. This is the request and notice for film and electronic media coverage of courtrooms. I am in receipt of this, and it was submitted by Fox 2 News, WJBK TV, our local station. I don't think I need to discuss the right of the press to be present in courtrooms, and I am assuming that the prosecution is not objecting.
No objection.
There's been an off-the-record conversation between Ms. Moses, the prosecutor, Ms. Michon, the defense attorney, myself, and then later I invited my sheriffs to go bring the gentleman cameraman into the courtroom to discuss the issue concerning Iesha Harris. She is absent from the courtroom. She is present to the side of the court in this court's lockup. And I'm going to let you speak next regarding the defense's request.
Your Honor, first off, when we heard the press was going to be here, of course, the press has every right to be here, but that right is not unfettered in that Ms. Harris, for her own safety, asked me whether or not she could withdraw her request to be present. Obviously, this is a critical proceeding that she has every right to be at, but for her own safety, she wishes to remain in the back.
Well, that was discussed with me, and everybody knows my history that I served on the juvenile court bench for 23 years of my career. And the press is allowed in the juvenile division of this court that handles abused and neglected children and young people who break the laws in the state of Michigan. So in those 23 years, I have had countless press come into my courtroom at Juvenile Justice, Lincoln Hall of Juvenile Justice, in my tenure as a referee there for 23 years. The press is allowed to film under those circumstances, but there were special provisions that the press had to abide by. And given my knowledge of what I did under those circumstances, I asked Channel 2 if they would be willing to digitize Iesha Harris's face, meaning, you know, those bubbly lights that turn around and distort it so that she wasn't seen on television. I invited gentlemen cameramen up prior to letting the public in and family members in the anticipation, sir, that you would call your legal department, which is exactly what you did when I suggested it. It is my belief that the gentleman to my right, working the camera, did call his legal department. We explained the circumstances that Ms. Harris felt frightened because this is a sentence agreement and she's going to prison. And as you pointed out, Ms. Michon, she is likely going to be in the prison system for women in the state of Michigan, and the sentence agreement is 28 to 50 years. So, gentleman cameraman got off the phone with legal, and it is my understanding, and you can correct me, sir, if I'm wrong, you're standing right next to me, and I trust you're filming this right now, that your legal department agreed to digitize Iesha Harris's face, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
After receiving that acquiescence from the legal department, I sent you back to talk to Ms. Harris to explain that we would digitize it. Ms. Michon, pick it up from here.
That is exactly correct, Judge. So we gave her every option, and she still wishes to proceed from the back, both because of the press and, quite frankly, she wanted me to thank all of the deputies, quite frankly. Given what happened the last time we were in court, they acted absolutely extraordinary in making sure everybody was protected. And so she wanted to thank the officers for doing an outstanding job. But for both of those reasons, she is waiving her right to appear in court today. She can't hear the proceedings. Neighborhood Defender Office social worker is in the back with her presently, and they are streaming on Zoom.
I also want to put on the record, Ms. Michon, that the conversation about the press being in here is more in depth than we put on the record. And one of the things that this jurist finds slightly disingenuous is the following. This has been a press case since its inception. It is a much bigger press case, presumably, because if somebody knows about what happened the last time, that might have, broadened the interest. I don't know. That's a speculation. However, her face at the initial arraignment, preliminary hearing, I don't know. This has been a press case before, so her face is known. I've also been told that this case is all over Facebook. I have not personally investigated it, but people are nodding their head. The decedent's family, just don't say anything yet. Let me just get a record. But there are 3 people to my right in the witness box because it is my belief that they're going to make victims' impact statements. I certainly recognize the mother of the decedent. I believe that there is a grandmother of the decedent and a grandfather of the decedent also wanting to make a statement. We're going to get to that, but we're dotting every dot and crossing every T now. And the reason why the court reaches the conclusion that I don't want to be here because the press is here and I'm afraid is slightly disingenuous. If it's on Facebook and her account is still live on Facebook, her picture is there.
It's not. All social media, she has indicated her aunt has closed all social media.
She meaning Iesha Harris.
Yes.
Okay, people are disagreeing with you, but I would welcome, and I'm speaking to you, Miss Harris, right now. So our holding centers, as we wait for in-custody defendants to come in the court, there's a holding center that 2 courtrooms share. That's where she is. We can mic in there so that the defendants who, for whatever reason, are in lockup can hear the court proceeding. We are live and she's hearing it through the court's mic system. In addition to that, it is my belief that Miss Randi, R-A-N-D-I, Bushman, B-U-S-H-M-A-N, who is employed by NDS and who is the author of one of the voluminous reports that were given to me for today's sentencing, is also back there. And our sheriffs have allowed her to bring a laptop. So in addition to Iesha Harris hearing through the mic system of the court, she's also on Zoom and being able to visually see what's happening, correct?
It's a phone, not a laptop, but all else is accurate, Judge.
Okay, so it's a phone, but it's a smartphone and she can see.
Absolutely.
All right. And I know that because I'm looking at the video screen. There's 2 of them in the courtroom, and Ms. Bushman's picture is up there. She could easily turn that video service on, and then we could see them. I'm just speaking to you, Miss Harris. I'd like you to come out. At some point, I'm going to ask you if you want to make a statement. There's no requirement that you make a statement, but I'm going to ask. but I'm certainly going to tell Ms. Bushman that if at any time during the course of this sentencing, Ms. Harris wants to talk to her attorney, that you can turn on your audio and speak to the court. I don't care who's speaking, Ms. Bushman. I want you to interrupt, whether it's me or other people. Tell me that Ms. Harris wants to speak to her attorney, and I will make arrangements for you to go in the back and stop the proceeding. If at any time, Ms. Harris, you change your mind and you want to come in to the sentencing, it is a matter of minutes, seconds probably, that we could stop the proceeding, ask one of the sheriffs to come and get you, and welcome you into the courtroom. Because if your reason for not coming in is afraid that your face will be shown and you feel risk in the prison system, it's already known. It's already known. And I'd like you to reconsider, but I'll leave it at that. I think that we have covered this issue thoroughly. Is the defense asking me to proceed, or are you asking me for an adjournment for her to think about it and come back in a couple days?
I think proceed to sentencing, Judge.
Okay?
Can you approach for just one moment, Judge?
You may. I'm going to take you around to the back. I'm going to close off my mic.
I can turn mine off.
Thank you. All right, we're back on the record in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Iesha Harris. We're on the same recording. My mic's on. Fox 2 mic is on.
1 second, if we may.
I think that she's changed her mind. Okay, and then we're going to discuss this issue in a minute, but let's see if she's changed her mind. This is the only case I have this afternoon. It's obvious I have probably all the sheriffs in the building, with some exceptions. Okay, hold on a second. Fox 2 is asking me a question. She's changed her mind. If she comes out, does she want it digitized?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Do you need to change anything? You gotta change something? I thought that, just keep her back for a second to make